Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. Moore again. Guess where I am? I am in our classroom and I came here to do some cleaning up. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this around so you can see your desks have piles of things on them. And I took a lot of things off the wall, but not everything yet, right? I still have to do those over there. But here is our classroom. And it's weird to be here without you. It sure is. Oh boy. So I thought what I'd do today, besides give you a headache from moving around like this, is I thought I would read Because of Winn, Dixie here in our classroom in my rocking chair, right? Oh, I'm picturing you sitting on this carpet. I love this carpet. Hold on, can you see it? I love this carpet. So I set up a stand here for myself, and I'm going to attempt to read Because of Winn, Dixie like the good old days when you were here. This is my mask. We have to wear it in the building. So we have read up to chapter 11. I'm going to read 2 chapters, 12 and 13 to you, and I will post this later today. It really is sad to be here without you. It really makes me miss you. So I'm going to try to focus, keep it together, and read Because of Winn, Dixie. Such a sweet story, okay? Chapter 12. Me and Winn Dixie got to Gertrude's Pet so early for my first day of work that the closed sign was still in the window. But when I pushed on the door, it swung open. And so we went on inside. I was about to call out to Otis that we were there, but then I heard music. It was the prettiest music I have ever heard in my life. I looked around to see where it was coming from, and that's when I noticed all the animals were out of their cages. There were rabbits and hamsters and gerbils and mice and birds and lizards and snakes. And they were all just sitting there on the floor like they had turned to stone. And Otis was standing in the middle of them. He was playing a guitar, and he had on skinny, pointy-toed cowboy boots, and he was tapping them while he was playing the music. His eyes were closed, and he was smiling. Winn Dixie got a dreamy kind of look on his face. He smiled really hard at Otis, and then he sneezed, and then his whiskers went all fuzzy. And then he sighed and kind of dropped to the floor with all the other animals. Just then, Gertrude caught sight of Winn Dixie. "Dog!" she croaked. Remember, Gertrude is the name of the pet store, but is also the name of the parrot that lives there. "Dog!" she croaked and flew over and landed on his head. Otis looked up at me. He stopped playing his guitar, and the spell was broken. The rabbits started hopping, and the birds started flying, and the lizards started leaping, and the snakes started slithering, and Winn Dixie started barking and chasing everything that was moving, and Otis shouted, "Help me!" For what seemed like a long time, me and Otis ran around trying to catch mice and gerbils and hamsters and snakes and lizards. We kept on bumping into each other and tripping over the animals, and Gertrude kept screaming, "Dog! Dog!" Every time I caught something, I put it back in the first cage I saw. I didn't care if it was the right cage or not. I just put it in and slammed the door. And the whole time I was chasing things, I was thinking that Otis must be some kind of snake charmer, the way he could play his guitar and make all the animals turn to stone. And then I thought, "This is silly," I shouted. Over Winn Dixie barking and Gertrude yelling, I said, "Play some more music, Otis." He looked at me for a minute. Then he started playing his guitar. And in just a few seconds, everything was quiet. Winn Dixie was lying on the floor, blinking his eyes and smiling to himself and sneezing every now and then, and the mice and the gerbils and the rabbits and the lizards and the snakes that we hadn't caught yet got quiet and sat still, and I picked them up one by one and put them back in their cages. When I was all done, Otis stopped playing. He looked down at his boots. "I was just playing them some music. It makes them happy." "Yes, sir," I said. "Did they escape from their cages?" "No," Otis said. "I take them out. I feel sorry for them being locked up all the time. I know what it's like, being locked up." "You do?" I said. I have been in jail, Otis said. He looked up at me real quick, and then he looked back down at his boots. You have? I asked. Never mind, said Otis. Aren't you here to sweep the floor? Yes, sir, I told him. He walked over to the counter and started digging through a pile of things, and finally he came up with a broom. Here, he said, you should start sweeping. Only he must have gotten confused. He was holding out his guitar to me instead of a broom. With your guitar? I asked. He blushed and handed me the broom, and I started to work. I am a good sweeper. I swept the whole store and then dusted some of the shelves. The whole time I worked, Winn Dixie followed me, and Gertrude followed him, flying behind him and sitting on his head and his back and croaking real quiet to herself, Dog, dog. When I was done, Otis thanked me. I left Gertrude's Pets thinking about how the preacher probably wouldn't like it very much that I was working for a criminal. Sweetie Pie Thomas was waiting for me right out front. I saw that, she said. She stood there and sucked on her knuckle and stared at me. Saw what? I asked. I saw all them animals out of their cages and keeping real still. Is that man magic? She asked. Kind of, I told her. She hugged Winn Dixie around the neck. Just like this grocery store dog, right? Right, I said. I started walking, and Sweetie Pie took her knuckle out of her mouth and put her hand in mine. Are you coming to my birthday party? She asked. I surely am, I told her. The theme is pink, she said. I know it, I told her. I gotta go, she said all of a sudden. I gotta go home and tell my mama what I just saw. I live right down there in that yellow house. That's my mama on the porch. You see her? She's waving at you. I waved at the woman on the porch, and she waved back. And I watched Sweetie Pie run off to tell her mama about Otis being a magic man. It made me think about my mama and how I wanted to tell her the story about Otis charming all the animals. I was collecting stories for her. I would also tell her about Miss Franny and the bear, and about meeting Gloria Dump and believing for just a minute that she was a witch. I had a feeling that these were the kind of stories my mama would like, the kind that would make her laugh out loud, the way the preacher said she liked to laugh. That was chapter 12. I'm going to read 13. So are you making predictions about what will happen in this story? Do you think that Opal will meet her mother again? We'll have to wait and see. Chapter 13. Me and Winn Dixie got into a daily routine where we would leave the trailer early in the morning and get down to Gertrude's Pets in time to hear Otis play his guitar music for the animals. Sometimes Sweetie Pie snuck in for the concert too. She sat on the floor and wrapped her arms around Winn Dixie and rocked him back and forth like he was a big old teddy bear. And then when the music was over, she would walk around trying to pick out which pet she wanted, but she always gave up and went home because the only thing she really wanted was a dog like Winn Dixie. After she was gone, I would sweep and clean up and even arrange some of Otis's shelves because he did not have an eye for arranging things as I did. And when I was done, Otis would write down my time in a notebook that he had marked on the outside, 1 red leather collar, 1 red leather leash. And the whole time, he did not in any way ever act like a criminal. After working at Gertrude's Pets, me and Winn Dixie would go over to the Herman W. Block Memorial Library and talk to Miss Franny Block and listen to her tell us a story. But my favorite place to be that summer was in Gloria Dump's yard. And I figured it was Winn Dixie's favorite place to be too, because when we got to the last block before her house, Winn Dixie would break away from my bike and start to run for all he was worth, heading to Gloria Dump's backyard and his spoonful of peanut butter. Sometimes Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry would follow me. They would holler, "There goes the preacher's daughter visiting the witch." "She's not a witch," I told them. It made me mad the way they wouldn't listen to me and kept on believing whatever they wanted to believe about Gloria Dump. One time, Stevie said to me, "My mama says you shouldn't be spending all your time cooped up in that pet shop and at that library, sitting around talking with old ladies. She says you should get out in the fresh air and play with kids your own age. That's what my mama says." "Oh, lay off her," Dunlap said to Stevie. Then he turned to me. "He don't mean it," he said. But I was already mad. I shouted at Stevie. I said, "I don't care what your mama says. She's not my mama, so she can't tell me what to do." "I'm going to tell my mama you said that," shouted Stevie, "and she'll tell your daddy, and he'll shame you in front of the whole church." And that pet shop man is I'm not going to say that word. And that pet shop man is dumb, and he was in jail. And I wonder if your daddy knows that. Otis is not dumb, I said, and my daddy knows that he was in jail. That was a lie. But I didn't care. And you can go ahead and tell on me if you want, you big bald-headed baby. I swear, it about wore me out yelling at Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry every day. But by the time I got to Gloria Dump's yard, I felt like a soldier who had been fighting a hard battle. Gloria would make me a peanut butter sandwich straight off, and then she would pour me a cup of coffee with half coffee and half milk, and that would refresh me. Why don't you play with those boys? Gloria asked me. Because they're ignorant, I told her. They still think you're a witch. It doesn't matter how many times I tell them you're not. I think they're just trying to make friends with you in a roundabout way, Gloria said. I don't want to be their friend, I said. It might be fun having those boys for friends. I'd rather talk with you, I said. They're stupid and mean. They're boys. Gloria would shake her head and sigh, and then she would ask me what was going on in the world, and did I have any stories to tell her? And I always did. Okay, I'm going to stop reading there. That was chapters 12 and 13 of Because of Winn, Dixie by Kate DiCamillo. And I am going to post this so that you can listen to it. Okay, and I will read to you tomorrow from my house again. It was fun to read to you here. It did make me miss you, but what are you gonna do, right? This is the way it is. So I'll see you tomorrow, boys and girls. I'll think about you while I'm here and I'm getting all your work together on your desk. It looks great. Talk to you soon. Bye.